Well, hello there, guys. I've been around in the game to see if something at all was changed or if there was something new, but not really, not where I've been at least. They are fixing Beauclair, the city, the main city, because it has been destroyed, half of it, so they're working on it, and that's that. Last episode you saw me actually go into the house to check on Reggie's present, and well, I deleted the whole recording because I thought I was done with it, but basically I thought I was going to have to record the gift, but I did already. It was at the end of the other recording I had, and I just deleted it because I thought I was done with it, and because I am very tired and very not present right now. I'm more in the real life than the game life because shit is happening. Anyway, I don't have that recording anymore, of course. I didn't have a previous save, so his gift was here, and there's a letter with it. And it's a device that allows you to transmutate mutagens, I suppose, if I had to synthesize it, the whole thing, because of course he wrote like an essay about it. Essay, whatever. Because the guy can't be brief.
Hold on.
Hold
Is it
on.
not you who freed the town from the blood gulpers?
Yeah, that was a new one. So, I suppose you will be able to use that device in New Game Plus or whatever, because having it right now at the end of the game, I don't know how much sense does it make. Anyway, yeah, Jan, we're here. So, this is the end. I finally got to it. I'm sorry I didn't have the last bit of recording, but that was it. That happened, that was a mistake, and that's it. Other than that, you know, I've been playing another Geralt. How would I call it? I call him Wolfie Geralt, and he's very different from Knightly Geralt. And I tried to take all the decisions that Knightly Geralt didn't take, because I wanted to make some comparison and stuff. So, right now it would be the moment to talk about it, right? Yen! Yen, what are you doing? She's probably resetting. Yes, anyway. Luckily for you, I have a paper where I wrote all the important stuff, so I will probably not ramble. But I still think I will ramble, because that's me. And a very important detail, I might talk... Good God, Yen. I might talk about spoilers, so if you don't want any spoilers, just go play this game and then watch this episode, because I have had no real time to sort the notes. So I'll try to do my best, but this is it, this is the truth. I don't have time, I'm sorry. This is not a good service, right? So, first of all, I have to say that I really enjoyed this game, and I actually recommend everybody to play it and buy it, because its value is infinite. By the time you finished it, because it's quite long and full of content, you can restart it again with new eyes, because you actually have already forgotten stuff. Alright, so the replayability is good, and the game itself is good. Is it my favorite game ever? No. but it's really, really good. It's entertaining, and even though it took me a lot to finish it because of external reasons, I did really enjoy it, and I found a lot of entertainment and relax and fun. And sometimes I was angry because I didn't like something or other, but it's really good. It's a go-to. It's a buy it kind of game. Maybe I'm also talking from the point of view of somebody that's really going through weird times right now, so maybe I am tied to this game because this game is tied to this moment in my life, so I am grown attached to it. So maybe I am overrating it, but I don't think so. I think this is a game that it's worth buying. I don't know about when it came out because I bought it what 1 year, 2 years ago. I don't even remember what. Anyway, I don't know if my opinion would have changed if I had bought this game when it came out, because I got the game mostly patched, functional. I don't know whichever issues this game had to begin with, so you have to take this into account in my final opinion. So I will try to be brief, and I'll talk about things in general, because whatever I was disappointed with or really liked, I've already said it while playing, so it's all good. This is not an RPG. Probably the 100th time I say this, but it's not a true RPG, but a multiple choice game, which is fine. I'm fine with it, but yeah, it's not an RPG, because sometimes your choices don't really matter. I mean, as I've said many times, it's impossible to create an RPG where every choice is carried over and matters. It's physically impossible. But here you mostly have an illusion of options. Sometimes I wish they just gave me a cutscene and not, dialogue options, also because the lines were just the same. There was no difference between the lines you had to choose. It was just the same. So please give me a cutscene and let's be done with it, because if there is no underlying choice, it's just a waste of time. Maybe the work is harder if you have to make a cutscene. I don't know. I wouldn't know, but it would be easier and probably cooler than two options that you have to choose and they're just the same and the result is the same, so whatever. There were a few bugs that have peeved me a little bit. Namely, there are mods to fix these bugs, but in our last lair, a couple of papers were hidden, sort of, and I say a couple because I actually managed to find another one about his apprentice. I don't even remember his name. Whatever. Oh my god, I'm sorry. And I like to read the notes to understand the story better, especially since the elf plot was really obscure and weird. So please, developers, make sure I can find my lore. I just installed the game that makes the notes visible, but basically the object of the note was kind of sunk into the furniture and not on top, and you couldn't see it, so you wouldn't be able to find it, and I like finding that kind of content, so please. Sometimes when I was playing as Wolfie Geralt, I've noticed that the oils were the wrong class. Now, with Knightly Geralt, I have not used oils and the bombs because it was my role playing. I was not allowed to use those things, but Wolfie Geralt only used those things. I didn't have any signs with Wolfie Geralt, and sometimes the oils wouldn't work with the appropriate monsters, and there are mods to fix that as well, so no problem. I mean, they're mods. I wish CDPR would have fixed these things by themselves, after all these years, but it's alright, there are mods. Thank you to these fantastic modders, by the way. There were very many inconsistencies in storytelling in general. Not a big deal, but I've noticed them. The elf plot, in my humble opinion, was rubbish. The Ice Age thing, I don't know. I thought it was rushed and not very well explained. Maybe people who have read the books know better, but as I've said before, if I have a game in front of me, I want the game to give me all the information I need to understand the story and feel the story. So yeah, it didn't work for me. I don't think post-Kermoren worked for me at all. It was fun anyway, and I really liked Avalach. He's one of my favorite characters, so there were good things even there. But yeah, I think the game starts really well, but then it goes downhill after Kermoren. It's probably a personal taste, personal opinion, whatever. There's that. Also connected to that, I didn't really care about Ciri much. My bad, I suppose. Maybe CD Projekt Red is good at short stories, because Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone were, in plot, were almost better than main game. So maybe them as a company, they are not good at overarching stories. Or maybe the source material, I can't talk about the source material because I don't know it, is not good at the overarching story, but for example it's very good in some chapters or with some characters. Alright, CD Projekt Red is also good with creating their own characters, because I think Roche is not in the books and I think Gunther is not in the books, and they were very well done. So overarching stories are very difficult. You need a clear plan to execute those kind of stories, and sometimes you need a lot of work. So if you don't want to commit to do that work, then keep it simple. Otherwise you're going to make a mess, I suppose. Whatever. Vesemir's death was a bit of a letdown. I don't know. It's connected with the Kermoren thing. After the island, after we went to pick up Ciri, the game really started to not make sense anymore for me, and Kermoren was the nail in the coffin, I suppose, as far as I was concerned. I kept enjoying it, yes, but something was lost. His death really does not make sense, because it doesn't. It's just, I think it's a shock death. It was supposed to be a motivational death to make the player understand that, oh, things are getting serious, but the whole Kermoren could have been prevented, It was very simple, and Vesemir's death could have been prevented. So you see, it didn't really work for me. Again, for me, probably. But yeah, I think Vesemir was wasted. Yeah. Always talking about story and what is connected to the story. There is Gwent, and there are races, and there is a lot of extra content that, yes, it's good because it's extra content. I haven't explored it all yet, but I wish they had left that out and just focused more on the story and made it better, because Well, maybe it's just me. I put story above all, so maybe it's just me. But races were not necessary. Gwent was not necessary. There is a whole game about Gwent. They should have kept the games separated as far as I'm concerned, because to create the cards and everything, you know, you have to put resources in it. Why not put those resources in the story, please? But I guess it's a point of view which is just mine. I was a bit disappointed by both Triss and Yen as love interests, because there was nothing really related to their romances. You could do nothing with them. You could not confront them, and there was no evolving in the relationships, really. Maybe because I'm used to Dragon Age relationships. I expected some more personal quest or some confrontation, something at all. And pretty shocking when you are with Triss and you bring Ciri back to Kaer Morhen, Yen kisses you in front of her. That was low. I wish they had made a different cutscene for people who romance Triss. I'm sorry. I just... And Geralt is there, like, you know, accepting the kiss. It's not like, oh, Yen, please, just don't. And I don't know, it felt a really bit bad. But thank God I was playing a Geralt that was going a little bit with everything. He was sticking to Triss, but he was going around. He was not like knightly Geralt. Radovid was also disappointing, because I absolutely do not believe in his craziness. I don't know, just me. The politics of Redania and Temeria not being consistent with the other games, it's just fine, because no game is consistent with those. I mean, I don't want to start talking about Ada, but yeah, if you made some political choices in the games before, they are not going to translate into this one politically. So whatever, Radovid is now crazy, and I don't know, I went on a tangent there, but it's okay. Sometimes the minimap kinda bothered me. I wasn't able to understand it. It's fine. Also, the journal sometimes, I didn't find it very useful, and the quest stages were not written down, so I sometimes I didn't understand at what point I was, or what I could or not do in the quest. So maybe again I'm used to very complex RPG journals and quest logs, so it could be me. I have to say that the alchemy stuff, the signs were good, but the alchemy stuff I still prefer the crafting from the first game, absolutely. Because you could do a lot with how you mixed the potions, and that was really nice. That was very RPG-ish. I think the first game is probably the only one that's really kinda RPG-ish. For the signs, I think I miss a bit the interaction with things, because we could smash doors and stuff that was in the way. But I remember from game 1 that you could use signs for more things. I missed the little dungeon where you just go in and you add walls and find stuff. I don't know. It's little things from the first game that I have in my heart. But again, it's a personal preference. Axie was good. I liked the force approach, but I wish it was always available whenever I had to convince somebody and there was a check, like, sort of, you know what I mean? Like, your Axie is too low to convince this person, or blah blah blah. I've noticed that in Blood and Wine, especially, the collision was really bad. There was a lot of clutter that was awesome. I said this 1,000 times, but if you have a bad collision, closed environments with a lot of clutter are a nightmare. I did not find these issues in the main game or in Hearts of Stone, so I suppose this is because of the new map, of the Toussaint map. A couple of times I was running around with Roach, and Roach was just collide into something invisible in the middle of the road, and that was unpardonable because it was a road. I was supposed to go through it. I don't think I ever managed to get that on recording, but it's fine. The Roach collision thing, though, wasn't game breaking. I mean, at least it didn't happen during that freaking race. The game doesn't have to be perfect. But talking about the Roach race, mounted combat, I have tried it a couple of times, but it's just bothersome. Maybe they should have refined it a little bit more. And that race, to win that race, I actually trained positively, and I also found out about the fact that I could slow my aiming sticks, which was good, but I didn't know I could do that. But then I had to reset the sensitivity to normal, because I had to, especially to fight. Again, in Blood and Wine, the new powers. Too many requirement points, especially for endgame and for such a short, relatively short DLC. I was waiting to accumulate points to get to the third power that I wanted, and I could never get there by Blood and Wine endgame. And that was really disappointed, because if you give me powers at endgame, I have to be able to use them, and there's that. Now, a few positive things that I have to say. Absolutely fantastic characters, whether they are from the books or from CD Projekt. Amazing, fantastic male characters, especially. Also, I really liked some of the women, especially Henrietta and Yen, but the men were outstanding. Especially since, I mean, coming from Dragon Age, seeing such assertive masculine men was a total joy, especially for me. That I like them like that, you know what I mean. I liked Dijkstra, I liked Roche. Yeah, I felt like the men were not muted or slightly castrated like they are in Dragon Age most of the time. The world overall, DLCs included, is very well designed. People's faces, bodies, clothes, armor. This is probably the most well designed game I ever saw in my life as far as aesthetic goes as well. It's consistent, it's beautiful, it's kinda historically accurate, but not really, which is fine for the Witcher universe. It's like uncanny, you don't know if it's historical or if it's fantasy, and that's absolutely magnificent. That's probably also due to the conjunction of the spheres thing. So it comes from the book, but I think CDPR really put it very well into visuals. The items as well were well designed, from the food to whatever. The most beautiful I've ever seen. The crafting as well was pretty good. Sometimes the requirement for the stuff were a little bit ridiculous, but like too much stuff, but it's fine. It keeps you running around for a while finding materials. It's fine because you find them. If you go around, you find them. There is no problem. No problems. Major spoilers now. So I've played the Roche Dijkstra quest, and Roche completely goes out of character there. I don't know, I don't see him selling to Nilfgaard. It doesn't make sense for me to have Redania against Temeria. It just doesn't. I mean, in my timeline, they would already have been united, but whatever. Roche didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand the final thief fight, the betrayal, Dijkstra's betrayal, whatever. I don't know, that really did not work, and I'm actually glad I didn't do it during the Let's Play, because I guess I preserved Roche's integrity in some way, so... Nilfgaard has a completely different culture from the north, and Temeria is north, so it makes sense for them to ally with the rest of the north countries. I'm sorry, I think that's what makes sense. I don't know how to justify myself. I did not really like it. I've played the second path in Blood and Wine, the one where you go to the Elder, and that was so cool. But the content compared to Fableland path was not appropriate. I mean, if you have to do two paths, please make them at least a little bit equal. I've noticed this problem as well with the Witcher 2, where the Yorveth path was a little bit less interesting and complex than the Roche path. But in Blood and Wine, it's right there in front of you. I actually really liked more the idea of the Elder path than the Sienna path. Let's call it Sienna path. I liked the fact that at the end, Regis tells Detlef, "You did all of this for one woman." I really loved that line. That line is not present in the Sienna's path. I wish the Elder path had more Oriana and more Regis and more stuff happening. I loved the cave. I wish that was expanded. I think it's a lost opportunity. I was fine with the other endings of Blood and Wine. I think they were all kinda good. But sometimes it did not make sense that you couldn't talk with Sienna about stuff, or you couldn't, talk or with Henrietta about some stuff. I still think that the requirement to read the diary was a little bit too much. They could have done it that you could ask Henrietta about freeing Sienna and using her as bait, or bring her to the Elder, so you would have been able to access the same dialogue with Sienna also on the Elder path. Basically, you bring Sienna to the Elder to make her explain about Detlef and why Detlef must be stopped. And then you could build it up from there. You would have to think it through to make it work, but it's not impossible. It would have made kinda sense. The second path, it's just, I don't know, they're not balanced. They're not balanced, and I did not particularly like the Sienna path. It was cool and everything, but I wish the Elder path was on par with the other path and stuff. And that was a bit disappointing, but okay. And in Hearts of Stone, the Gunter challenge, the Gunter boss, was great. It was just as good as the other bosses in that DLC, and it was well done and satisfying and weird, and I enjoyed it. So at the end of the day, I have to say my favorite game is still Witcher 1. because that's closer to the game I like, alright? But I absolutely have a soft spot for Hearts of Stone. I really, really liked it. That DLC has my favorite bosses, from the Frog Prince to Olgierd to the Gravedigger to Iris. My favorite story. And I think that was all made up by CDPR, I think. I don't think that's in the books. I think it's just random stuff that they put together, and it was great. I loved the darker tones, especially darker than to Saint. And I loved the absence of book characters and book stuff, especially for me, because, I don't know anything about the books. So for me it was relaxing and refreshing. Whenever book characters pop up, I'm like, oh my god, how should I behave now? But it's fine. It was never a big hindrance. I also have to say I really liked the first part of Witcher 3. The Baron arc was outstanding, and the Crows were better villains than Eredin. Full stop. And the Wild Hunt. A part of me wishes that the Wild Hunt was spectral indeed, and not space elves, because that would have been easier on the storyline of all the 3 games, but I don't know, they wanted to go that way, so whatever. I just didn't like it. But the Baron part, the heaviness of it, the darkness of it, I really liked, because I like it like that. Blood and Wine was gorgeous. I loved the map, I loved the country. It was very close to my heart because I live in a similar country, but it was maybe a little bit lighter than what I expected, and I prefer darker tones, so maybe it's just me. Probably the thing I liked the most in this game was doing investigative contracts. I just enjoyed going around and finding out what kind of monster was behind what story, or I also really liked investigations. For example, the one that we had in Skellige with the Ceres. I don't know, that was sort of nice, Monster Detective Geralt of Rivia. I would totally play a game where I go around investigating contracts and mysterious supernatural curses and homicides. That was one of the best things of Witcher 3. You probably disagree with me, but yeah, I really liked that stuff. I really liked trying to figure things out. And talking about that, I wish the bestiary was open. I know this is probably a stupid detail, but I much liked the idea of being a complete Witcher already from the beginning, because, Geralt is a veteran, isn't he? Veteran Witcher, so, right? Yes, there can be a new creature, but I still wish the bestiary was completely, fully open to you. I wish you could consult it before getting into trouble, like I used to do in Witcher 1. So there we go. I think I've said everything I wanted to say, and that's it. And night is falling onto sand.